Hi, I'm Beverly Mahone-Gibbs, one of the writing consultants here at the writing studio on the campus of North Carolina Central University. Joining me is one of my former students, Tyler Fisher, who came to me on several occasions to help him with his essay writing. And I am happy to say that he is one of my former prize students who has now gone on to achieve wonderful success in his writing. So Tyler, I'm so glad that you could come back. Wanted to ask you, what was your experience like when you came to the writing studio? Because you physically came in, but you also worked with me online. So what was the experience like, and what were the differences?
The differences were the writing consultants themselves. I'll say the experience was great. It was just more so, I learned more so about myself, if anything, through the sessions.
Do you see that there's really any difference between the face-to-face sessions versus the online sessions? Because I think some students are a little hesitant for one or the other.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
I think it depends on the learner. I'm more of a hands-on learner with certain subjects like math. I would want to be in person for that, just because I need all the help I can get, the Lord, the teacher. But I think it depends on the student and the subject when it comes to preferences of online and in person.
Why don't you think more students take advantage of the writing studio?
I'll say priorities. As a student, you can be overwhelmed with events, joining organizations, going to class. There's a lot of things to do, and sometimes the writing studio gets mixed and lost in all of that. But I do think it's important for everyone to improve their writing. So I just think prioritization, and I'll say visibility. I don't think every student knows about the writing studio. So I think that's another issue as well.
I was going to ask you about that. So what is it that we can do, in your opinion, in order to give us more visibility?
I'll say during orientation now that I think about it, the writing studio was a part of my orientation. I was going to say incorporate it in the orientation, but I would say having the English teachers or any teacher or professor that is dealing with writing, to have them be a reference for you guys, for them to shout you guys out in class. Also, showing up at maybe community events around the school, setting up a table, having a conversation with certain students. But other than that, I do believe the orientation is a good start, because the writing studio was a part of my orientation. We came through, spoke to some of the counselors, and got to understand what the writing studio provides. So I think students have to take accountability also with seeking help.
What do you say was the best help you received from the writing studio? Because, we do work with editing and proofreading. We can even help you brainstorm if you need that. Yeah. We can also help you with your references, whether it's the APA format or the MLA format. So there's a lot of different things that we can do. What did you get most out of the writing studio?
I think finding my voice. I think every student has their own unique style or voice or what they want to portray in their story. So I think being able to get kind of like convicted in certain areas with my writing, I was able to bring out my best self and really hone in on what really matters in my writing, and not having all this fluff, but just getting straight to the point and explaining the story. So I'll say just being able to find my voice. I think that was the biggest thing that I got out of the writing studio.
So during your 4 years here on campus,
4.5.
4.5, yeah, we all been down that road. I was there 5, it seems like. Anyway, during your 4.5 years here on the campus, did you ever get to the point where you felt so confident in your writing that, well, you know what, I don't need the writing studio anymore because they've really helped me a lot and I can do it on my own now?
I wouldn't say do it on my own, but I will say after you come multiple times, most scholarships you apply for and prompts, they kind of are similar. So all the essays and the writing pieces I had, I was able to build off of what I already had,
Right.
and just add more or revise a little bit here and there. So I'll say after a couple times of coming, I was able to build a base of what was my story, because my story hasn't changed. It only was added upon. So I would say I feel like you should always come back to the writing studio for perspective and a professional eyes. But after a couple times, you can really get confident in the story that you're telling and my voice. So that's kind of what happened to me.
And how has your writing and being able to come to the writing studio for assistance helped you in your career after college?
It helps me a lot, honestly. I think identity, knowing your voice and knowing who you are, I think that's all a part of what everybody wants, to be assured of themselves, to know their story, kind of have a direction of where they're going. And for me, that was entertainment. And I was able to, just from knowing myself and knowing what direction I wanted to go and learning about my own struggles, I was able to be out there in LA and be on a reality show as a producer, direct, write, and produce my own short film, and just different projects within the entertainment industry. Uh, I was able to work on just because I knew what I wanted, uh, just from knowing my story. So, and knowing my voice, which was cultivated through my experiences, not only in college, but through the writing studio.
And that was going to be my next question. So, what are you doing in your career now? But you kind of answered it. But yeah, how much writing are you doing now in your career after college?
I literally, for my producing job, I would literally write about 2 to 3 pages a day.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
wow.
I'll say about over 25 pages a week. So, once we got wrapped up with production, I'll say I probably wrote over 200 pages within 2 to 3 month span. So it's a skill that you use daily on things like production and storytelling and media. If you want to be in media, reading and writing is so fundamental in that. And that's all we do in the writing studio is read and write. So it definitely helped.
That's so true. All right. So as we prepare to wrap this up, I worked with you on several occasions because you were applying for scholarships. Mm-hmm. How many scholarships did you win or earn during your time here at NCCU?
Over the time at NCCU, I was able to accumulate over 10 scholarships. And like I said earlier, most of them, once I built that base of my story, mm-hmm. I was able to kind of like revise each story to the prompt.
To the prompt.
It was my story, but certain scholarships ask different things and some ask similar. So I will say I want to add that I have applied for over 60 scholarships. So it's not like I've definitely got denied a lot of times. So I will say that persistence did help, but knowing my story did too. And I wanted to ask you, why do you think students don't come to the writing studio?
That's a great question. Because I work primarily online, I'm not sure if they know where the writing studio is physically. I don't know that for sure. But I will say that there would be no excuse because if you don't know where the writing studio is on campus physically, you can always book online. Yeah. The other thing too, Tyler, I think some students have a false sense of security about how well they think they write. I think they write better than they do. I think students they say, well, I was in honors English in high school. Okay, so you were in honors English in high school. This is college. It's a different ball game.
Yeah.
And I think students, don't feel that they really need help because they've been given a false sense of security. The other thing is, I don't think students want you to know how poorly they write. I don't think they wanted you to know. And so it's better to just
I'm guilty of that.
take the heat, take the hit, and keep going.